Welcome to Brain Friends, where two neuro nerds talk all things aphasia, language recovery, culture, and community. I am Dr. Davetrina Seles Gadson, a clinical speech-language pathologist and neuroscientist.
And I am Angie stroke survivor and aphasia advocate.
Welcome to our show.
Welcome to Brain Friends.
We want to thank all of our listeners for downloading the podcast. We appreciate everyone listening. So please tell a friend to tell a friend that we are here.
And we are.
Hey, Angie.
Dr. Celeste, what's going on?
Nothing much. How have you been? I feel like I haven't talked to you in a long time, so I'm so excited.
And look at us on camera.
Mm-hmm. We're going to give people a little visual.
little something. Let them know this we up in here. Listen, I have been getting ready for my second. Arches is having our second conference in October the 14th in Philadelphia at Temple University. So the one that you were the keynote and killed it. But you were the keynote last year. And your coat from Ghana, people are still talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
That same conference, we're doing it again, but this one is called ROSA, and it's the Resource Orientation for Stroke and Aphasia.
Wow, that is so exciting.
Yep. So we're going to give people that we're mainly targeting people that just had a stroke and maybe 2-3 years out. And the goal is to kind of give them a starter pack of things they're going to need in order to get through this journey with aphasia and surviving a stroke. So hopefully folks can come out, learn some stuff. We're going to have a couple of panels, a couple of workshops. We're doing lunch, and it's just going to be a great conference.
Oh, wow. Well, definitely. I know we'll have that information in the notes.
Absolutely. Let's do that. So what's been going on with you? What you been working on?
Well, I've been doing well. I actually just gave a talk on health equity and aphasia. And I have a funny story. I know we have an icebreaker to get into, but I can laugh at it now.
All right, I'm here for it.
So our last episode, we talked about research and the importance of including diverse sample sizes within your research in order to get a makeup of what's more like the US when we're looking at assessments and treatments and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that, you know that Western aphasia battery picture where, they are, what picture am I talking about?
Oh, I know the one I can't stand, but the one you're talking about is the picnic at the a house, like a log cabin.
Yeah, right.
Scene.
So one of the things that
someplace I ain't never been. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, exactly. So that's one of the things that I, in this talk I was sharing, which is that we need to diversify the tools that we use because, for an example, that picture, there are things in that picture that would look different in the Black community at like a barbecue. And so in my presentation, I use these two different pictures, one that resembles the Western aphasia battery picture, and then one that resembles a Black cookout. And at the end of the discussion, I get a question, not on the treatment or the actual content related to why we need to diversify that picture source for semantic reference, but on the way that I say the word picture.
What?
Yeah. The comment said something like, you say picture as in a picture versus picture. And
as in a pitcher where you pouring water, or like a pitcher you're throwing. Now I'm thinking all the words that mean that they can be pitcher.
Oh, Angie, I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed because I felt like, when we're thinking about health equity and aphasia, like we do in research and like we'll talk about in treatment, White people, you can't say how to say the word.
You don't own the word. Boop. Boop. You don't own the word. You don't own the word. And nor do you own my accent from South Carolina.
Okay. Georgia and
Sorry,
what?
Boop.
No, but either way, I'm a girl from the South.
I'm a girl from the South.
Okay. So I was a little disappointed in that.
Wait, so that was in the comments or that was something that was said?
Well, that was the question that was posed at the end of the presentation when
In
you say, "Do
person.
you have any questions?"
Oh, so we did this in person.
It was virtual.
Okay. See. Oh, oh my God. So what did you say?
I said I didn't care if it caused a confusion because, you know, number one, it was my accent and my dialect, and I think that we have to be mindful, especially the majority, in what you pick up on and how sometimes these things can be an implicit bias. And number two, I said that out of the entire presentation, I just found that it was interesting that that was the comment. It makes me realize like we have a lot
So,
more
right,
work
you're
to
talking
do.
about the WOB, which is the standard of how people are tested, why it's not equal for the semantics of the answers you're going to get. And you could be placing a Black person, scoring them less because we don't really party at the lake like that, like this picture shows. There's a line for the electric slide, and there's this one big grill. Uncle Ray Ray's rocking that, or Man
Okay.
Man, his son, he's rocking
Okay.
that, and we doing this. So
Okay.
they don't match up. But you're explaining why that could be problematic in research and getting data, and they're like, but you didn't say picture right. Ah, as if you could be talking about. I mean, it's a synonym that there's only one you could be using in reference to the wild. It's not a picture. It's who she is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And may she have the day she deserves.
Look. So me and my PhD don't care. I just want to
Oh,
let the record show.
and on that note, we got two truths in the line. We
Let's
gonna
go to
get
our
into
icebreaker.
that. Broke all the ice right there. Oh,
Two truths and a lie. So we're gonna share two truths, two things that are true, and one thing that is a lie. And we have to guess the lie.
yep. Who's
Do you
going
want to go
first?
first?
I most certainly will.
Okay.
I traveled to over 5 countries. I can play piano, and was licensed to be a locksmith.
Hmm. I'm gonna say the lie is you can play piano.
It is.
Whoa! Yay! I'm right.
Wait a minute. You're right. You're right. No, you're right. I can't play piano. Okay, you're right. You're absolutely right. Do you know what extra bonus if you know what I can play?
Ooh, that's a good. I think you could play the drums.
That's just right. You just looking at me like, she played the drums. Yeah, I played the drums in my college band. Shout out to St.
See?
Aug. Shh. I love my blue, my HBCU. St. Aug in the
Okay.
house.
I love it.
Yeah, band tour 91 was awesome. That's all I'm gonna say. So it is your turn. What you got?
Okay. Um, I was an extra in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I am the author of a best-selling book. and I was a queen at my college university.
You already got me with the I was Teen Georgia. You got me with that one. I remember that one. I was like, damn it. But it seems like you might have been a queen at your university. That sounds like, because I don't think there's a bestseller book right now. But we can speak that, we can speak that into existence. But I'm gonna go with queen at the university.
Wait, which one is the lie?
The lie is that you were a queen at the university. Wait a minute. Yeah. Yeah. You weren't queen at the university. That's
Okay,
a
so you're
lie.
saying the lie is that I wasn't a queen at the university.
My weakness in aphasia
I
is
know, I
either
can see it
or.
because you literally just talked yourself through that entire answer, but then you told me something different. So
That's my weakness.
I like, yeah, I mean, it's good to see. Okay, so which one of those things are a lie? Do you need me
You
to say
were
them again
not,
or you know which? Okay.
you were not, the lie is that you were in, no, am I supposed to be coming up with the truth or the lie?
You're telling me which one of those three things is a lie. So I told you two things that were true and one thing that is a lie. Which one is
One
the
is,
lie?
the lie is, okay, you were in a movie, you wrote a book. The book has to be the lie. The book is the lie. You ain't got no book yet. You ain't got no, you better not have no book. You ain't got no book yet.
The book is the lie yet, but
So
stay tuned.
so we got a movie. I got a movie star up on me.
Oh my gosh, yes. You know, it wasn't even, I was young. I was the extra in That Darn Cat with Christina Ricci. Like the movie did so poorly and which is why I don't always share it. And you can't really see, like, I know me because I know what I was wearing that
Right.
day. Like
That's
that
my
dick on
hat.
my leg right there. That's my arm. I was like a student in a class in school.
Oh, look at that. Did it take all day?
Yeah, it actually did take all day. And we were like doing the same thing over and over. I was like, oh my gosh, how many times am I going to have to walk into this building? And then raise my hand.
How old were you then? Real quick.
I was thinking about this. I had to be maybe like 12.
Oh, that's right. That's a good
Yeah,
age to
like
do something
between
like that.
10 and 12.
And so you were like, let me keep my head in the books because this acting thing is not for me. Doing this over and over again, not your speed.
No, but it
Okay.
was really fun seeing all the lights and just kind of like how movies are made. And I remember going to the movie theater to like see it and like all of that stuff.
That's pretty cool. Right. And you could actually remember where you're like, this is the room, this is it, this is it.
Yeah. And then like when I saw how short the clip was, like we did all of that walking like that entire day just for that little segment. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's get into treatment. I'm so excited to talk about this. So last episode we talked about research and today we're going to talk about treatment, starting with some of the treatment settings and then get into types of treatment. And I want to know what your thoughts are on treatment research and then your experience with aphasia treatment.
Let's get into it. Well, I do have a quick question in reference to the settings. What are treatment settings? Or I know what I kind of think they are, but I want what are some examples of treatment settings and why does it matter?
Yeah. So the treatment settings are classified often into three groups. It is your acute care, your inpatient, outpatient, and then there's another one, home health. That's another type of treatment. And then depending on where you are on your recovery journey, you could also do intensive therapy type, which would be in a different setting. And so a lot of times the setting is dependent on the level of severity. And so oftentimes in the acute care setting, the speech pathologist role is to get the individual with aphasia able to communicate wants and needs from a communication standpoint. And then, swallowing is another thing, making sure they're able to take medication and food. But,
Oh my goodness.
wanting to make sure that they can communicate their wants and needs. And then after that, you want to get into that inpatient rehab, which is oftentimes like a 3 hours a day where you get your hour of PT, OT, and speech, or,
Oh, okay.
if you only need 2 of those services, then they can divide it to where it's an hour and a half each. Unfortunately, though, sometimes I think that, PT and OT usually carry a lot of that. And so sometimes if individuals may only need speech therapy, they may not qualify for that inpatient rehab.
The unfairness of the way SLPs or speech therapy as a whole is kind of, I don't want to say disregarded, but it's just not given the same weight as PT and OT. And if I can't talk, I find that to be just as important as, I don't say just as important. I mean, because if I can't walk, that's huge too. I mean, but they're equal. If I can't communicate, communication is a basic human right. And if I
Right.
can't talk, I can't communicate my wants, needs, or if I'm in trouble or if I need help,
Right.
that's got to be, that's got to get up on the totem pole a few more notches.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Well,
don't know what to do about that.
well, I also wonder too, like where the field and what more we could be doing in the sense of the way we communicate the basic need of communication. Sometimes if you say from an insurance perspective, the individual will be able to complete automatic speech task. That's
Mm-hmm.
not as powerful as the individual will be able to communicate wants and needs or communicate pain. Where
Right.
I think that with PT and OT, they have a good grasp on being able to situate their treatment goals in functional things. Like, yeah, you want the individual to walk, but you want them to be able to walk to go to the bathroom, or you want
Right.
them to be able to walk to stand up safely,
Mm-hmm.
or stand so they can walk safely. And so I wonder if in treatment we began to massage our goals more into like actual functional things and communicate them that way, if we'll have more of an importance.
Mm. You mentioned automatic speech task. What does that mean?
So automatic speech tasks are things that essentially your brain doesn't have to think about. So they're rote
Ah,
tasks that have been committed to like muscle memory, so to say.
5,
So
10,
like
15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50.
okay, come on, math, math person, finance person. I was kind of thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Mm-hmm.
8,
Mm-hmm. But
9, 10.
they drilled the times fives in us like a lot.
Yeah, so stuff like that, days of the week, months of the year. These are things
Mm-hmm.
that it's kind of like your brain goes on like autopilot. So
Right.
if you're able to grab those things, then that could be a level of success that you're able to do some of those automatic speech tasks that your brain doesn't have to think about, like, well, where's that word? Because once you get on the go, it's going to come into play.
I um the night they were taking me to the hospital, the young man asked me my social, and I'm like, okay. I'm like 18249, and I'm like, wait, there's not an 8 in my social at all. I was just blurting out numbers,
Mm.
and I midway through, I'm like, well, none of that is right.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your date of birth? And I'm like, I'm like, that's not, I'm born in December. I couldn't get the words that I wanted to say um to come in a time like it was. And I'm like, well, of course, at that point, I had no idea what aphasia was or that I
Mm-hmm.
was even having a stroke. But I remember thinking, well, that is just so fascinating. It was really fascinating to me and scary, but more
Yeah.
like because I was physically, my hand was closing up, but I didn't feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
But those automatic tasks are the things that failed me and scared me the most.
Mm.
Those things that you don't think about. Like I had went to sign my name, and all of a sudden I couldn't get an A.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, and so those are the things that, and if I can impart on from the SLP side, is when people can't get there, um, give them an extra helping of patience and grace,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because we don't know that we can't recite our own social until we go and we try.
Mm-hmm.
And so just the automatic speech, the automatic things are the things that are the scariest to have to realize are no longer there, that they're no, you, because here's the thing, you didn't even know those things were up for grabs.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that was, I could forget, I could not know how to tie my shoe. What do you mean? Of course I know how to tie my shoe.
Mm-hmm.
So other than that, and those automatic speech tasks, what else is important in the treatment setting? I done ran off and started talking. I'm sorry.
No, 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 you're fine. One of the things that I also think about, especially depending on the level of severity, so like, you know, how well the words come out, or if there's additional like motor speech type of injury, is this thing called errorless learning. And, errorless learning is uh, basically a remediation that prevents the client from reinforcing their own error. And it's really good to use for individuals with severe aphasia or even moderate aphasia, because it helps create a level of success. So, for an example, if I wanted you to tell me what this is, instead of saying, "What is this?" I'll say, "This is lip gloss,"
Mm. And then I
or
have to repeat it.
and then yeah, and then you would repeat it. But we would go through a couple of those things. So whatever, I like to use items that are important to the individual. So if I was in the acute care setting, then I would definitely use things within the room, a call bell, water jug,
TV remote.
TV remote, those things. If I was in the home, then I would use, whatever was there. And so you go through these items really fast, and you're saying, this is this, this is this. You're naming them first. And then afterwards, you're having the client attempt to name them. And I think that that's one of those
Oh.
strategies that can sometimes be underutilized in the
Hmm.
initial phase of therapy.
So, and that's almost like giving a naming memory test as well.
Well, so that's the thing. You don't want it to be a memory task, because you want no thinking in it. So you want it to kind of be, um, it wouldn't be automatic, because, those types of things may not be as rote and repetitive in nature to where they're stored in that way. But you don't want the individual trying to guess and search, where is that word filed in my brain? So you just want to tell the person the word. And so any inability to say that word, could then be due to the actual sequencing of the word. So, maybe the person has weakness in the lips or the tongue or dysarthria or apraxia, some of these other behaviors. But if I tell you the word and you don't have to look for it in your brain, then that errorless learning kind of takes away that memory piece of it, if that makes sense.
I think so. So the fact that you're saying remote, it gives you, they don't have to think about it, but I don't understand why that would be, I don't understand why that's not already in there, I guess. Like why that wouldn't, why it doesn't need imply, I'm sorry, like the memory part of it, like the semantic memory part of it, like how that doesn't kind of come in is a little confusing to me. Okay. Okay. I got you though.
Well, one of the reasons why it shouldn't come in is because with the errorless piece, I'm not giving it to you and saying like, okay, what is this? And then you're having to use that memory piece to kind of search, you think about like when an individual, I always use the analogy when someone has a stroke, it's kind of like we have all of our information filed in certain file cabinets, and the stroke or the brain injury comes and it like knocks over that file cabinet. And so that information is everywhere. If I say to you, what is this? You're then in your brain having to kind of sort through, that Rolodex of, okay, well, where did I file that word? Because I know where that word is. Versus if I tell you this is lip gloss, you don't have to search through and try to find it. You just have to repeat what I said.
I got you. I'm picking up. See, go ahead, Dr. Celeste. Thank you, Dr. Celeste. It's my dog. Drop it. See, on camera, don't know how to act. That's what I'm saying. Just out here doing what we do.
Give y'all a little snippet.
A little something for the people.
For the people.
For the people.
Yeah.
For the people.
Well, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Talk to me about your journey with treatment, and if you have participated in any treatment research, some of the easiest things and the hardest things that were part of your treatment journey or research treatment journey.
My treatment journey, I'm not even going to regale you with that. It was a regular SLP. She was 6 out of 10. Not bad, not good, but a SOP and existing. She existed, but she was not as intentional. And I would also say I do not knowing what I know now, I don't think she was a student of the LPAA model. She really wasn't. Now that you know what I mean? Now I act like I know some stuff.
LPAA? You dropping these terms. These acronyms.
Life participation. That's all I know.
Yeah. Life participation approach in aphasia.
Okay. See, right. I figured it had to be something with aphasia, but yeah, approach in aphasia. And that's, now I feel like I got to give a whole thing. That's so people can learn what they want to do and what they want to engage in and things that will be helpful for them in living their day-to-day lives, rather than I'm going to just do what's on this paper. Is that correct?
Yeah. I think that's awesome. So you found that well, you're saying that you didn't receive that type of treatment, but now that you think that type of treatment, like you're an advocate for.
I am an advocate for, and yeah, I didn't receive that. And long story short, I wound up going to a support group, and the woman there presented me with the opportunity to work on my language at Temple through a research thing. And that's where I actually made the most of my gains.
Yeah.
Was availing myself to research. And that was such a mental exercise on it was almost like, it's like an intensive therapy, but they can't call it that because it's not a therapy yet. It's research.
Mm-hmm.
But it was it was really, really tedious, really annoying, but it was necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And if work were fun, they wouldn't call it work. I'm gonna let that marinate for a second. If work was supposed to be easy, they would call it something else.
Oh, I like that. I like both of them.
Okay, that's what I was supposed to say.
I like both of them, but I like that. Say that again. Say the real.
If work was supposed to be easy, they would call it something else.
I like that. Because work can be fun.
It can be, but
I like what you're saying. You're right. If it was supposed to be easy, they would call it something else.
And if being successful were easy, everybody be doing it, but they're not.
Yeah. With treatment, I always say that the client doesn't plateau, the clinician does.
Say that again for the people in the back.
The client doesn't plateau, the clinician does.
Wow, I love that. And I remember I've actually heard you say that. And the more I avail myself to advocacy, I see where that comes into play so much in the support groups online, and people are out here suffering and not getting the help that they need, based off of either where they live, or where they were mentally, they couldn't take anymore mentally, but they timed out of therapy.
Mm-hmm. And that's their time. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, finish your thought though. They timed out of therapy.
They time out of therapy, and now you're trying to. I've absolutely forgotten my whole point of that, but I will tell you before we wrap up. I will tell you the easiest thing for me to get back that I got help with in therapy, and availing myself to research and such. The easiest thing for me to get back was the proper text or tense. My nouns and verbs were very out of whack at first. And I was able to get those back into saying the right things at the right times. That came fairly easy for me to get back. And the hardest thing is, which you've experienced today, is my short-term memory. Or anything that's this or that, either or, I cannot grasp.
Some of the working memory too, like being able to like hold on to it, manipulate it, and give it back.
Not at all, which is what happened with the 2 truths and a lie. I talk to because I can make a decent sentence, I can just keep.
Yeah. We should do an episode on that, like just the memory and the cognitive pieces.
Oh my God, I'd love that.
Yeah.
I'd love that, because I think that's where people, especially my crew, my fellow Aphasians, that's all we want to know about is how does that work, and how can I work on that, which we also talk about in our neuroplasticity episode, which I'm not mad at doing a number 2 on that.
Let's do a number 2 neuroplasticity, because I mean, even though there's still a lot of meat on that bone, I feel like we can do another helping.
I think so, because that is the whole thing, is the neuroplasticity, and being able to give people the opportunity and give them some more tips and tricks on things that they can do themselves at home once you get out of that office, because you're only in the office for 45 minutes to an hour for 8 times.
Yeah.
And the key is it's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
Right.
And that's something I think we need to advocate for as well. It's not long enough.
Right.
The time with the SLP, you should get the same amount of time at OT as you do at PT. It's
Right.
just as important.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I'll say just in closing, in recognizing sometimes that we have to move with the system that we have while we try to change it. And I'll say that I remember when I was treating, I had a patient who, like many, only have a certain amount of visits. And this lady wanted to learn how to play bridge. That was something from a quality of life perspective that she really enjoyed. And so in that treatment session, even though I had my goals for her and, understood kind of some things that I would have felt would have been a little bit more, I don't want to say
useful.
Important, but like I would
useful.
have, useful. Or I would have targeted, from an impairment perspective. I learned how to play bridge. So we could work on scripts and things that at least allowed her to be able to do something that she wanted to do until her therapy dollars started up again. And so I think that speech language pathologists have to start doing the things that individuals want to do in their therapy sessions, because treatment dollars run out and you want the individual to feel like they can participate and do something while they wait for more money to come in.
And that would also help if you ask them for the personal reported outcomes from the people with aphasia. You have to ask us what we think and what interests us. And that would be a better buy-in rather than saying, are you saying picture or picture?
Okay. 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 Look, roll the music on that one.
We'll get out of here, Dr. Celeste. I appreciate you so much.
Bye.
And look at us on camera.
Ooh. Bye, Angie.
Peace, y'all.